I'll come back before 6.
Well, that...
As a compliment, you know?
Why don't I show you where everything is, and then you can make...
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. How was it?
It was good.
Yes, yes. So this is actually a very popular movie that has been going around in the 2025 dark comedy drama. A young man named Colin discovers a new sense of identity through an intense, yes, by that means intense relationship with a biker that his name is Ray. Yes, let me tell you, very, very intense. But before we get into further details, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get right into more details. So basically, like I said, this movie is very popular. It has been going around, if I'm not mistaken, since the end of last year. And the story between Colin and Ray have been leaving a lot of, comments. A lot of people are like, wow, this is too much. A lot of people feel like, no, it's actually very, very interesting, the plot, because it's very different from the other, gay movies that we usually get. So let's break down a little bit more details just in case you all haven't watched the movie. So basically, Colin is shy, he's timid, and he's a wallflower, living a sheltered life with his supportive parents. On Christmas, he encounters with Ray, a leader of a gay motorcycle club. So basically, they meet at the bar. And the moment that Colin sees Ray, he basically just falls head over heels for him. But obviously, Ray already knew his intention towards Colin, and he was just, trying to see if Colin would, in this case, do what he wants under his rules, basically just being in control. Ray introduces Colin to a world he never have experienced before when it comes to intimacy, control, and also submission. As Colin becomes more involved with Ray's world, he basically, is under strict rules. And obviously, in this case, you can see that Colin genuinely does enjoy it, and Ray does what he does. And basically, they have an understanding on what is going on. It's a mutual agreement between the two. But one thing we have to say is that Colin's mother, especially his mother, is not happy, by the way, on how Ray is basically treating Colin, and she in this case actually ends up calling him out and telling him to his face over a dinner that, hey, I don't like the way you treat my son. But obviously that conversation didn't go as planned. But how things starts to change, how Colin wants to find his own identity and his own way, is when his mother passes away. When his mother passes away, that's where everything actually ends up changing for Colin, because then he starts to be a little bit more demanding. That's where he wants, to be under other rules. This the moment where he wanted more, an emotional connection and not just a physical connection. That's the moment that he wanted a little bit more than what he was getting out of this relationship that both of them are in. And obviously, this is also the moment that we can see Ray also being a little bit more vulnerable, and especially, knowing that Colin lost his mom, you can see that he started to be a little bit more vulnerable. And there came a point that Colin even was like, okay, maybe he's changing, maybe things between us will change, maybe the rhythm of our relationship will get better. And there came a moment that it actually looked like it would get better, because, they were just, going out, because there's a thing they have decided to do, which is called a day off, where they just can just bond and do stuff they normally don't do. And there's a moment where Colin starts to realize, like, hey, maybe he's falling for me and on an emotional level as well. And you can see that Ray kind of was. He's very, very, how can we say, strict. He doesn't smile, he doesn't laugh. He's very mean. Like, he just has his own strong personality where he doesn't like to be vulnerable. But by the end of the movie, we can see a different side of him, that Colin brought out once Colin started to be a little bit more dynamic, in this case, more demanding, and basically approaching differently his relationship with Ray in this case, and just saying, like, hey, I want more. This is not working for me anymore. And, just demanding more and wanting more. That's where the Ray's attitude also started to change slowly. But the moment where they shared a kiss, the moment where they actually shared the first kiss, was at the end of the movie. And you can just see that moment. I feel like that was the moment that Ray realized that in this case, he cannot, be in this case, he cannot be in control of his relationship no more with Colin. And he just disappeared. Like, he just disappeared. He never told goodbye to Colin. And he just disappeared from his life. Colin was seeking for him for a long, long time. Even his father was helping him. His motorcycle, friends didn't know where he was. He just disappeared. obviously as time went by, you can basically see that, Colin have decided to finally let it go and just move on with his life, and he basically have decided to go ahead and go find love again. And this is exactly what happened. By the end of the movie, you can see him basically having a meeting as somebody new, which looks like they would be under the same, rules of his with like under the same rules that he was with Ryan. So yes, very, very interesting movie. I would highly recommend you all to watch it. It's very interesting. It's available to watch on Prime Video, and yes, it's like 1 hour and 40 minutes long, if I'm not mistaken. And it got a 7 out of a 10 rating, which is not bad at all. So go ahead, go watch, go support.